And yet, people who self-style themselves as truthers still, for the vast majority of them, still cling to statism. For them, it's still this idea, it's this, oh yes, well, there is this kakistocracy, this criminal psychopath class, these horrible, pedophiles and all of this that run the government. But that's just a contingency. If we just vote the right people into those positions of power, then everything will be better again, and we can have all these wonderful things from government. Well, I'm here to tell you today that absolutely 100%, those positions of power, the entire trough, has been created by and for the criminal psychopaths. They are the ones with the bloodthirsty desire to rule over as many people as possible, and they are the ones who created the positions so that they could populate those positions. Government is not contingently run by psychopaths. It is necessarily run by the most ruthless, bloodthirsty, warmongering, criminal psychopaths. It always has been. It always will be. There is no voting out the criminal psychopaths and voting in a virtuous bunch of wonderful people who will steer the ship of state in the right direction. That is the ultimate delusion. Now, if you don't know about criminal psychopathy as it relates to the political class, I will wholeheartedly suggest you check out Political Ponerology by Andrew Lobachevsky, the obviously seminal work on this subject that I did mention in episode 90 of my podcast, Our Leaders Are Psychopaths, which was recently renewed by Brock West, video editor for the Corbett Report Extras channel. So if you haven't listened to or seen that podcast yet, I suggest you do so and start thinking about the criminal psychopaths who necessarily populate government. And then start thinking about, well, maybe government isn't the answer to the problems that government creates. What a crazy idea. Where does that lead you? So, anyway, that's the thought for the day for today. I think we have to address this fundamental issue of the fact that the systems of control were created by and for the criminal psychopaths in order to rule over you. And the sooner we all understand that, the better for everyone involved.
And that's a fact. James pointed it out perfectly. And pretty much I have the same sentiment about and view that he explained right there, how I view it myself. And it's like in this country, in every other country, because of the same fundamentals of what James was just speaking about. All wars are sectarian conflicts until internationally fomented by international bankers with the intent of lending to both sides of the conflict. After the conflict, the winner generally agrees to cover the loser's losses. However, during the conflict, both sides will borrow without restraint in order to win. And it's not even a money game, so much as a power game. The borrower is beholden to the lender and therefore must honor the lender's duress for the future course of the nation. In the 1930s Europe, there was no benefit for America picking sides in a sectarian conflict. We didn't get anything from World War II. The only beneficiaries were the international bankers. Out of the result of that conflict, there were, when able to secure all of Europe under their thumb through the European Union, America lost 416,000 plus soldiers. Nobody paid us back for our destroyed tanks, planes, and ships, etc. And we got something even worse. The creation of the U.S. military industrial complex. Normally, in any conflict since the War of Independence, America would switch its peacetime industries to weapons manufacturers then switch back after the war was over. Only this time we didn't. Most U.S. corporations that switched over to making weapons during World War II never switched back, as they discovered weapons are more profitable than peacetime goods. The only thing required is a war. And if your corporation has employees and investments in foreign countries, it's relatively easy to support any side of the sectarian conflict. So we now had an industry in America which specializes in manufacturing wars, literally. And it's worked hand in hand with the banking industry. You'll never hear any banker complain about a weapon manufacturer, nor vice versa. Debt and death would now be our number one export. How in the hell Americans could allow their country to be exploited in this fashion in perpetuity is beyond reasoning. And something else to understand about corporations in general. Over the past half century or so, out of desire for greater and greater profits, our corporations have intertwined themselves ever more deeply in the finance industry. So much that now any given U.S. industry is about 1/3 financial in its nature. Meaning, regardless of whatever products that given U.S. industry builds or ships, regardless of whatever services it provides American public, it must now operate through the finance industry in order to do so. In order to do business effectively, the individual person on its board of directors must simultaneously sit on other boards, there being in the finance sector. This is why our corporate media has nothing but good things to say about the international banks pushing us into new wars. Our corporate media heads are not on our side, believe me, but rather the side of the money lenders, the money junkies, the lenders, the dope fiends for this. Finally, all of our politicians owe their campaigns and favorable media coverage to communities with and donations from the international bankers. The lobbies which politically pressure Congress and the president are no different. As a result, our elected officials are not on our side either. This is a level of fascism neither Mussolini's Italy or Adolf Hitler's Germany enjoyed. It's literally the total negotiation of democracy, although a government of oligarchs by oligarchs and for oligarchs. In fact, it's a lot more like Marxist communism, in the sense you have a small group of centralized, all-powerful persons deciding things for everyone else in the nation. However, unlike Marxist communism, nothing is for free in America. You pay and you pay for everything, every bit of food you eat, every watt of energy you consume, every household repair, every leased municipality fee, every iota of health care, most of which goes to ultra wealthy insurers and not into bettering your health care. You can never stop working and scraping together whatever dollars you can achieve, as you are never allowed to stop paying out dollars. Add to the NSA wiretapping industry along with the indefinite detention, and you have something which is arguably worse than a Stasi state. So, Communism without the perks of communism. That's where America is at now. One rung below communism. To call us communists would definitely insult the communists.